Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
All right, good evening, good evening. All right. Wow. Hockey showed up. Nashville is a hockey city tonight, right? So this is crazy. I'm Brandon Taylor, I'm the District 21 Council member. Thanks for coming out tonight. Thanks for many of you probably emailing us. If we haven't responded, there's several emails that are in our inboxes on the City Council. I will say that I've received a number of calls. I'm sure Metro Parks has received a number of calls. The Mayor's Office has received a number of calls. And so we're here. I'm glad you guys were able to get out tonight and come and join us to have a conversation. I'm going to try to get through this quick because we want to hear directly from you mostly. So there'll be some brief presentations tonight. So we have Director Monique Oldham here from Metro Parks. We have
Stuck in behind.
okay,
Yeah.
Chris Coster from the Mayor's Office, and of course Sean Henry from the Predators. And we're going to have them kind of come up. Director Oldham is going to just kind of hopefully do a welcome, give you guys a quick timeline of where we are today. And then Mr. Coster, I keep wanting to say Costner, always.
Yeah. He'll take it.
But Mr. Coster is going to share a little bit about the process and the conversations from the Mayor's Office and the Predators, and then Mr. Henry will then share a little bit about what this will look like. I think on my way in I saw a few renderings and different things of that nature of what a visual may look like. And then from there, hopefully, this is a push. Hopefully we can move through that quickly, presentation-wise, so we can open the room for questions. Did you guys?
Why are you looking at me?
Did you guys feel the push? Did everybody feel it? So hopefully we can move through that very quickly, so we can open the floor for questions, comments, concerns, etc. From you all, which is the main reason we're here. Okay. So also, we've got two Parks Board members here.
Three.
Oh, three. Oh, sorry. Just say hello. They're here as well, so I'm sure you guys may be back for that deliberation, as well as Metro Parks hears this before it moves any further through the City Council. Also, and with that, I'll say this. So this is just protocol-wise from a policy stand situation from how this moves. This will be presented at council on first reading. Generally, we always, unless it's something crazy, we generally approve a first reading item. You have to go through 3 readings on City Council. I will ask the body to approve this on first reading, kick it off, and then punt it down the road later because we need to hear some concerns. From there, there's opportunities for us to take a look at this in a different light from this conversation tonight. And so, just to help you understand kind of where this is, it's got a little bit of a road ahead of itself, and so I think we start the conversation here. So, without further ado, Director Oldham.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Well, I am here just to do a quick welcome. Thank you for being so passionate about this. What I want to just kind of talk about is kind of a timeline. It may overlap with some other things that other people, some of the other presenters say this evening, but for the past several months, there's been kind of a discussion of what a partnership with the Preds at the Sportsplex could or would or should look like. So, and I'll roll back even from there. When I say several months, this last iteration was probably 12 or 14 months ago. Before that, even before COVID, we had off and on discussions about, we're talking about capital improvements at the Sportsplex. You all know, since you're here and you're very passionate about Sportsplex, you all know that that building is, number one, dear to the city, but is in need of quite a bit of, has a lot of deferred maintenance needs and quite a bit of improvements. So that was basically the topic of our discussion over the past few years, again, back before COVID. This most recent iteration, the consideration that came through the Preds and Mayor's office was kind of exploring what a partnership with the Sportsplex, particularly the ice side and concessions, could, should, or would look like. And so at this point, you all know this, proposal is before the Parks Board. It has been deferred to the Parks Board's Acquisition Committee. That committee considers all land use issues that come before the Parks Board. And ultimately that committee will make a recommendation to the full Parks Board, depending on what the...
Excuse me, can you speak up? There's a whole lot of people out here
Yeah, I won't be...
who can't hear a thing you're saying.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. And so I'm not going to yell, y'all. I'm sorry, I'm not a yeller, but I will speak up as much as I can.
Thank you.
So from there, the acquisition committee will make a recommendation to the full Parks Board, depending on what that is, that will move to the Metro Council for a final decision and consideration. So with that, I will turn it over to Mr. Chris Coster, who is the mayor's office.
I'll do the same. Good evening. I'll try and speak up as loud as I can so you can hear me back there. I'm just going to walk through the basic points within the projected lease right now. This has been an agreement between the city, negotiated between the city and the Preds, and as Monique said, she sort of outlined what the process related to that. So again, I'm going to walk through that. I'm going to do very high level, and we can get into questions related to details, but I think the key thing to remember is the Preds already have a lease with the city at this facility, right? They've had that since 1998. That's been their practice facility for the NHL team and any visiting team at the facility as well. So this is a continuation and expansion of that lease in many ways. So the term is 2026 to 2049, roughly 23 years, which coincides with their lease at Bridgestone Arena. The lease space is, they would operate the 2 ice rinks, right? And the spaces associated with that. So the locker rooms, the restrooms, the facilities around that. So again, I know there's been misinformation, just the 2 ice rinks. So Metro retains ownership of the building, Metro retains ownership and operating the aquatic center, the tennis facility, right, the associated facilities with that, the fitness center as well. The Preds would assume all the operating costs, all of the repairs, the maintenance, and the capital infusion costs related to the facilities, including the structure of the building itself, which is a pretty significant, as you've seen with the facilities. We think that has an enormous benefit to everybody in this room as well, and including improvements to the facilities, the ice rinks, the locker rooms, all available to the public, all those public-facing facilities, significantly improved by the Predators with an infusion of capital funds. The estimate is somewhere around $30 million to improve these ice rink-specific facilities. The legacy programs, like much conversation about that. The Preds are committed to keeping all of the current programming at the facility. All of that will remain in place. They'll honor the existing contracts. No displacement of the skating or hockey programs. Keeping stable and consistent pricing related to all those. And again, the Preds organization can talk more about that specifically. Again, it's not a privatization of facilities. Metro retains ownership of the facilities. Again, we have the Ford Ice Center, we have the Bellevue Ice Center. That's a public-private partnership with Metro Parks as well. Very consistent programming, very consistent operation relative to that. It's not a new thing. It's just the Sportsplex ice is being added to that portfolio. Make sure I cover everything. So ultimately, the city believes this is a very positive result, both for improvement of the current facilities, long-term operations. They have an invested interest in making sure that everybody's taken care of related to the public-facing programs. Certainly in the Preds best interest to maintain those contracts, to maintain that access for everybody. This is not, Sportsplex does not make money. This is not intended to be a money-making venture for the Predators. It's just intended to operate and infuse significant capital improvements to the facility so that everyone in the city benefits from that. So the mayor's office is obviously very supportive of this. We think it's going to result in much improved facilities and the ability to maintain the facilities, repair the facilities, long-term obviously results on less of the burden of that for the metro taxpayers at the end of the day. So with that, those are just the high-level deal points related to the terms of the lease, and I'll turn it over to the Predators to discuss further about operations of the facility.
So the puck's about to drop, so this is going to be a better time. Hopefully we get interrupted often with some goals. We've seen a lot of those this year. So ideally, my phone's going to go off a few times. Unless, Monique, we can get it up on there. My name's Sean Hendry with Nashville Predators. I just want to say thanks for coming out. There's a lot of passion in the room, like someone said. You know, the fun thing about it is when you look around the room, everyone in here loves either figure skating, the facility, or hockey. That's commonality I think we all have. Again, the Preds have been in that facility for over 25 years. We've been partners with Parks there that long. Partners in Bellevue for I think 11 years. Antioch 11 years, Bellevue for 5 or 6 years. But as Monique said, we always talk. What can we do together? What can we improve upon? What is next? And again, right after you got the job, I think we went out to lunch, say what should we do with the ice center? Because it needs some love, and there's no doubt about it. You have great staff there, you have great programs that run out of there, but it's no fun a week before opening day for tryouts or for the Preds training camp that the skids are down or the HVAC's down, or there's so much deferred maintenance that let's solve it, together. We wouldn't be having this conversation if there weren't good programs out of there that we want to embrace, continue and move forward from. Again, I know there's been a lot of rumors, a lot of misinformation out there. I've had a handful of phone calls today talking about it, and we want to embrace what those programs are. You look at the history of NYHL, with the Flyers, with NSA, with just, I think, the best open skate for high school kids on Friday nights. Good things happen there. We want to just make them a little bit better by infusing it with capital. You have a handful of employees there that are some of the best employees in ice rinks. I saw Frank tonight and I laughed, so I always talk about it. I've only been in that rink one time when you weren't there. That was this last Friday. And you probably were there, I just didn't see you. And you have so many people dedicated to make that place the special place it is. Within our ownership group, I think we have 4 owners that played in NYHL. We have 3 or 4 owners that have kids or grandkids that skate out of NYHL. All 4 of my own kids did as well. This is part of all of us. So one of the biggest things are, well, the Preds are saying the right thing. Why won't they put it in writing? And I think you said that, a few guys along the back wall said it, and we want to put it in writing. What we want to do is take the good things that are happening, first with NYHL, and let's enter into a multi-year contract, something that NYHL doesn't have right now. And obviously, Flyers operates underneath that as well. And we met, I don't know when it was, I'm looking for a familiar face, maybe a month ago, about what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, what our approach is going to be. And we left that meeting all feeling pretty good. Some concerns, of course, all the way around with any change. Maybe, I don't want to say new faces, because we've all been around a while. But we said, send us over what you want. Let's do a 3-year contract with an evergreen year thereafter. We said, absolutely, we'll get something over to you. I thought we'd get something last week. I give a lot of compliments to the board. I think that's been delayed to have this meeting, to see what other concerns or issues may come up. So then you can incorporate it into the agreement that you're going to send over to us. We want to get that signed pending the approval of the operation of the overall agreement. We've talked to NSA, how we're going to move forward with that. Let's have an agreement on that. We've talked to a brand new ice group. How do we let them use this facility as well as 4 ice centers? GNASH, talk to them. How are we moving forward? All the same things. It's not that we're saying things and not putting them in writing. It's get us it in writing from you to us, and let's sign it. We don't want to change what we are. When we opened the 4 ice centers, the first one 10, 11 years ago, we interviewed all the users of the rink at A-Game and Centennial. What's good, what's bad, what do you want to change? And we altered what we do slightly. The men's leagues are a little different between the 2 rinks. One is per player, one is per team cost. That's a good thing, to have different formats at different rinks. We want that to continue. How NYHL operates for rec hockey versus the way we operate our rec hockey, a little bit different. The length of seasons, times of touching the ice, That's a good thing. People can choose where they want to be. We want to keep all of it running really, really well. Figure skating, the same exact thing. Different formats in different places are a good thing. One thing that we don't want to do, we don't want to operate a lot. When you have good operators, they should operate programs. That's what we want to embrace. Someone along the way is going to bring up Dallas. I've been to Dallas a few times. I don't like Dallas. I don't like green. Can't comment on too much what they do or don't do. Your hair is beautiful, by the way. Can't comment on too much of what they do because I don't know what is going on there or what doesn't go on there. The one thing I admire about Dallas is they partner with municipalities to build their rinks. That we copy with the 3 Ford Ice Centers and ideally more on the horizon. But beyond that, I do know that they control all their programs. They want to do that. That's just the opposite with us. We started some programs and then turned them over to other people to operate them. None of those organizations have exclusives with us at Ford Ice Center, and that's a good thing. There's always hours in the day that ice could be used a little bit more. I think if we add some staff to the great staff we already have, each Ford Ice Center has 10, 15 employees. There are 4 or 5 full-time employees in Centennial. Let's fund that differently so we can populate the ice a little bit more. That's what we want to do. Things will be in writing. Ideally, I'm looking at the group I think that controls when that will come to us. This is good, for all of us. And again, the uniqueness of every travel program is a good thing. We concentrate on junior Preds and Flyers because we're here, now. We have so many other programs too, whether they're operating at Ford Ice Center, Centennial, Nolensville, or wherever the next rink's going to be. The more we get together, the more we talk, the more unique each offering is, the better all activities are. So that's what we're about. The last thing we want to do is hurt the Preds shield. Everything we do is growing the reputation, growing who we are, why we're doing it. We're not trying to take over Centennial to ruin someone's experience and hurt our image. I mean, it's really that simple. What we do want to do is take the training center that we have right now on the backside of the building, double that in size, create a world-class training center for our team, for the Preds. That's going to cost us $20, $25, $30 million. When we started looking at this 4 or 5 years ago, I think General Services from the city and our own engineers did an independent study on what it's going to cost to keep this building running really well for the next 20, 25, 30 years. It's a combination of some deferred maintenance and things that will need to come. And that number is, like Chris said, $30, $35 million, probably more down the road at some point. We're going to take responsibility for that. But it's hard for us to invest $30 million in the future of the Predators in a facility that we don't know what the future of the capital improvement factor will be. So that's how we came up with this solution. The only difference I think you'll see in Centennial is a little bit more investment, a lot more often, with the input of parks, with the input of the users of it. Right or wrong, as an organization, everything we do with Bridgestone Arena or the Ford Ice Centers comes off of suggestions and input from the users, from our employees, from our partners, from the city. That just continues down to Centennial. You look at the history of the Centennial, a lot of great things have happened there, let them continue. We like those multi-generational stories. That's what sports are about. That's why we chose to extend our lease at Bridgestone Arena. 30 years, when most teams are saying, well, our building's 30 years old, we need a new building. We want people to talk about, I was here with my granddaughter or my grandson, or this is where my parents met. That's what this facility means to us as well. It's the first home for the Preds, and we want to make it a home for the Preds, through 2049 at a minimum. The only reason we're limited to 2049, we're making a coterminous with the Preds lease. Ideally, in 2099, our grandkids are arguing over which league is better as well. So I'm excited that you're here. I'm excited about the passion. If you don't believe 25 years of pretty good reputational history by the Predators, believe what we're going to sign in the contracts. And all we're doing is waiting for the groups we've met with to present them to us to sign them. And again, they'll be pending the final approval. But there's nothing to hide. It's a pretty open book. But again, look around the room right now. Spent a lot of Saturdays with some of you, a lot of nights with some of you. Some of you heard me swear about my own son, that's stupid. But it's a great place to be together, and that's just going to continue. The difference is it's going to be a little bit more modern, and it won't have the worry of what happens if this breaks. And that's a good thing for all of us. So look forward to answering almost any question you have. And I hope at the end of this, we all feel really good about what this could be. So Brandon, thank you so much. It's still 0-0, by the way.
So we're good timing. Open the floor for any questions, any thoughts. Not everybody at once.
Yeah, I got a question.
We got one back. Go right ahead.
Yeah, you talked about holding the pricing, the hockey pricing, at least for adult leagues, at Ford Ice is $500-600. I think it's like $550, $560. It's a little stress for a lot of young players who come out of the house leagues and out of the travel leagues. And I would like to know, it's like $200, $230 at Centennial. So you talked about holding the price. I'd like to know, one, how long you'd commit to holding the price where it is at Centennial. And then the second piece, yeah.
What price are you talking about? I apologize.
For adult league at the Fordyce Centers,
$505.44 online.
yeah, $505,
44 cents.
44 cents. I get a discount as a season ticket holder, thank you. But for a lot of young kids who my son has played with, who come up, he has no friends to play with. I fund his league, his fee, but a lot of his friends can't play at Fordyce because of the cost. They play at Centennial, and I'm hoping we can get a commitment on some length of time. I'm not saying change the pricing of Fordyce current, but to hold up perhaps the pricing at Centennial.
So just addressing all pricing, for a minute. The different structures. One is per team, one is per player. Depending on how many players you have on your team, that changes a little bit. As far as pricing goes at Centennial, what we said to each organization that we met with so far, let's enter a 3-year agreement and then a 1-year evergreen that every 6 months out it just automatically renews. With all the current prices that we have right now, let's freeze them for next year, which means year-over-year freeze. And then you look at, are there nominal increases from time to time? You have to look at it, just like there are right now at Centennial Fordyce Center. Probably the biggest difference is, and it might sound small to some people, unless you've been on the ice when that Zamboni door's opening up and the score's tied, an hour of ice is an hour of ice, not 50 minutes, so that'll change, but it'll keep the same price, but you're gonna add 20% more ice time. So we're holding those prices at least, for the first year agreement, and then anything that increases, there'll be some nominalness as we have. But we have that protected in our lease right now of cost increases, if you will.
Thank you. And then the second point, as I mentioned, my son plays, some of the young guys get a little hot-headed, they get suspended, and some of the suspension policy at the Fordyce Center carries over to the suspension at Centennial. You'd eliminate an opportunity for kids to play who've grown up playing the game. So in some instances, I think it's up to a year suspension at Fordyce. I'm not saying it's not justified, but maybe some other things can be implemented so that people don't lose ice privileges all over if Fordyce takes over and implements the same penalties. So my thought one might be something like to allow those kids who are playing at Centennial and not allowed to play at Fordyce some other mechanism besides sitting out for a year from the game they love. That's
Our goal is pretty simple, have kids play hockey.
yeah.
We keep using the term kids though, if it's a
Adults.
gymnast, what's that?
I can say there are adults on my team.
Right,
It's
so
too. So.
there is a difference. So GNAS will, do their own discipline, NYHL will do theirs, the TPH or Junior Preds will do theirs. As far as adult leagues go, if an adult's getting suspended for a year, there's something wrong. I mean, I'll just say that. At the same time, common sense will prevail between the rinks, as they do now between Antioch, Bellevue, and Clarksville.
I just say, if you take someone who loves the game and says you got to sit out for a year, it's going to be, it's not encouraging the game. That's all. So thank you. Love what you guys do. Love the. I think it's a good thing for Nashville and support it. Thank you.
Quick question here.
Yeah, so the 60-minute versus 50-minute sheets. So there's 24 hours in a day, we're not adding a sheet of ice, right? You're still gonna have 2 sheets of ice. So my question to you is, are you starting to do more split ice practices in order to accommodate the same amount of teams or more? Are men's league guys playing at 1 a.m. now? Like, how are you accommodating 60 versus 50-minute rentals?
It's pretty simple. It works in every rink in America, except for one that I know of. Some are 57 minutes to account for it. You're cheating it a little bit, but you're not adding days to the week. You're not adding 2 a.m. ice time. Right. But the goal is to, when you're on the ice, maximize what you're doing when you're out there. The consistency between that is a good thing. It just is. And again, our focus this whole time has been on youth hockey, youth hockey, youth hockey. Probably not even thinking about the differences in adult hockey and the passion that's there. I am guilty about caring about youth hockey a lot more than adult hockey. That's just a fact. That said, the pulse beat of what the rinks are, you know, after dark, whether you're watching your kids play and then playing yourself, it is the adult leagues and beer leagues. One of our former employees here somewhere, guy plays in 3 leagues and he's so passionate about it, he came here, you know, today. That's a good thing, we like that. We want the experience to be better, you know, not worse at all. There are days, times during the day though, that a lot of the ice that gets cluttered at, you know, 4 and 5 o'clock could probably get moved up a little bit earlier if we attacked it differently. So that's where you go. You cheat a little bit on each end for a better overall experience. And it's more cost conscious.
Sure. All right, thank you.
You got one here?
Hey Sean, so I play over in the adult league at Centennial. I have for a couple of years now. We have a lot of people there who have been there a very, very long time. And the conversation we've been having is, which you kind of addressed some of this, I just wanted to ask if you could elaborate a little more. Is this going to become Fordyce Center at Centennial, or is it going to stay? We're just registering for the Centennial League like we always have, totally independent of Fordyce Center operations, because we do have a lot of people who, for whatever reason, whether it's cost, whether it's an issue with some policy or some person or something, or a timing thing or whatever, they just don't want to play in a Fordyce League, it doesn't work for them, they want to play at Centennial, and I think there's a lot of people who would like to know what that's going to look like going forward.
Hard to completely nail that down, but I said at the beginning, the uniqueness of different offerings is a good thing. You know, it works for someone, might not work for someone else, and that's what I think we experience right now. But that said, there are a lot of people who play adult leagues in both, you know, venues, you know, maybe all of them. The goal is to do what really works well at Centennial and continue to do that, because that works for a good number of people. I think we've shown in Fordyce Centers, we don't want to operate programs hands on. That's why we find good people to operate them, move away. The adult leagues are a little different. That, you know, we operate Fordyce Center. Centennial employees right now operate that at Centennial. Have that continue in unique way is a good thing, because we want people to be comfortable with what they're doing and where they're playing. What we do in Clarksville is slightly different than Antioch and Bellevue, because the need there is different. It's a, you know, smaller amount of people. So that's the goal, is to find the right solution for everybody. It's working right now. Look at this room right now. You know, users of Fordyce Center are pretty passionate about it. Users of Centennial are passionate about it. I will say there have been a lot of bad conversations in locker rooms, like, oh my gosh, they're just going to make it this. Conversely, you hear the same thing in Fordyce Center. Well, if they do that Centennial, they're just going to make us do this here. It's not going to happen. The uniqueness is a good thing. It really is.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have a non-hockey question, maybe for the mayor's office and for the parks. As a facility lover, using the pool, using the fitness center, there are times of the day when you can't find a parking place now, and because the city has outsourced parking and everything else is paid parking on the streets.
I voted against all that.
Yeah. I want to, as a part of this, I'm all in favor of the expansion for the upgrades, clearly. I love the facility and I could see the needs daily, the needs for upgrades and the linkage between the two. So, for example, if there's events, hockey events going on one day, and you're also trying to have a youth a swim meet, this is not good for anybody. And so how do you integrate this into the lease? How do you integrate this into operations? How do you integrate it into capital? Is there a parking garage needed? Is there something else that's needed in order to facilitate this, to make sure that the hockey leagues can all be there when they need to be, but that there's times that it's clear that everybody's all still able to use the facility, because it has other terrific world-class facilities there.
Mm-hmm.
So.
You know, I can start, but this is more of an administrative, operational, and which I defer to the Parks Department on that, but overall, you know, there is a coordinated scheduling thing within the lease in terms of parks and the Predators, trying not to have those kind of situations where everything's happening all at once everywhere related to programming, the aquatic center, fitness center, or the tennis center for that matter, related to that. Myself, having been a long-time user over here, totally understand the parking situation. And it's paid parking everywhere all over the city, because even in my neighborhood, I used to be able to park for free and cannot, so I absolutely understand that. I think in terms of what that looks like for the future, that's a conversation we'll have to have related to capital spending, those capital spending plans, and what those look like for parks priorities related to all of the other facilities across the county that Parks has to manage and care for over time. So I hear you, it's something that we need to consider and address over the next few years. I don't think the impact of this particular lease deal exponentially expands the conflicts that exist as opposed to how those facilities are being used today.
And I'll say it's been a conversation with us and myself and the Predators in regards to the current parking situation, from infrastructure to beautifications and whatever it may be. And so we'll continue having those discussions. So after this, we'll take away from this conversation and go back to the table before we finalize any language and legislation, et cetera. Got here.
It just, I just wanted to, overall general, it sounds like you guys want to come in and spend a healthy amount of money on making this professionally a very accommodating facility for yourselves and opposing team. It doesn't sound like bathrooms of where you'll be operating the 2 sheets of ice get any improvement. It doesn't sound like general things don't get improved, and that the concessions get taken over. But I guess my general question is, the kids playing on the ice there and the tournaments being played there are still Flyers. Is that correct? You're not going to have a junior Preds program running out of this facility.
The Flyers are operating out of that. I hope the Flyers operate out of Fort Ice Center from time to time. I hope the junior Preds do operate there. There should be a lot more, shared service from time to time. Bigger events can be pulled in, bigger tournaments. We don't all have to travel as much as we do now. But make no mistake about it. I said at the very beginning, the Flyers have operated for a long time there. We want that to continue. We don't want to take it over. We don't want to operate it. We want to take everything that's going on right now with the Flyers and continue that without changes. And I don't want to put anyone on the spot. I don't like last time, I can't see there. We talked about getting an agreement last week, right? We're all in for it. I love the fact that we hit pause to have this meeting first to see what else to put in there. But you might want to add to it. Our goal is pretty simple. Take what you do well with MYHL, Flyers, NSA, but just continue it, not as is, but better. We are going to change those bathrooms too, just for my own sake.
The verbiage that went out in a letter to your base or your people in your junior Predators group kind of sounded like you've overgrown your britches a little bit in that ice. You're losing ice if you don't get the management here.
I got it. Number one, we don't own the junior Predators, just like we're not going to own the Flyers. TPH operates them, we license our name to them, they buy ice from us, not an exclusive fashion. They're good, really good partners. I saw a snippet of that from 3 or 4 people today, different texts, different experts. I haven't seen the whole thing, I don't think. It's like witness protection on this one. Whoever wrote that, it doesn't work for us, probably misspoken. I read it 3 different times, I was on the phone with one of you today, we read it together. You can almost see what his intent was, and then you can see what, if you're skeptical, what the reading was. The person doesn't work for us, he's not part of this at all. So I hope we've all overgrown our britches, if I said it right. We need more rinks is what we need. What we can't do is lose a rink because of investment. That's my biggest fear. That's why we started talking originally. I think the skids went down, we jumped in and repaired them. My biggest fear is that we don't, when I say we, use whatever pronoun definition that is, we need to put $30 million in that facility pretty quickly, or it might not be able to operate the way we all want it to. But again, whatever went out from different coaches on the Flyers, different coaches from NYHL, different figure skating groups, junior Preds, the Marauders have a couple floating out there as well. I can't answer to any of those, but that's why we're here, to answer any rumors that are out there. I know during tryouts, different coaches were chirping at each other that I'm going to take your team, I'm going to take this. That's natural stupidity that crosses over. And the guys in the room that wrote it, sorry for saying that, but it's natural stupidity.
Thank you for addressing that.
Good. So we'll go here, here, here.
Surrounded, man.
All right.
So my comments are probably not going to come as a surprise to most of the people in the room, but I do want to double click on it for Parks people and for Mayor's office. I had the chance to talk to the Preds and YHL. Full disclosure, I've got a wonderful 8-year-old son that plays with the NHYL and YHL. We should be super proud of that program in the city of Nashville because it makes the city better. Losing that program makes our city worse. Anything we can do to protect that is of the paramount importance to the city as a whole. So I say that as a parent. I'm not on the board. I just happen to know people that I've gotten. I wrote my first ever letter to council to explain that. My son, by the way, said all of this drama just because we keep beating them. What I do want to double click on more than anything, and I think Sean has done a really great job, is there has to be an agreement before it's approved. Without the agreement, there will be no trust. With no trust, hockey gets worse. If everyone's moving through with the right intent, we should be able to, with the city, with the Preds, and with our team, find an agreement that everybody can feel great about. That is my pitch to council, to the mayor's office, to the Parks Board, because it makes the city better, having multiple options for kids to play. I will say, it is a very intricate and detailed situation when you talk about youth hockey in Nashville, Tennessee. I try and stay out of all the drama. But the day before a meeting, you get an email from somebody saying, we need these for the sheets of ice. Sean knows this. It doesn't help the cause. So just know that's what we're battling against a little bit, and I just want to make sure I double click on it for the Parks Board, for the Mayor's office. I know when you signed up for the Parks Board, this is exactly what you wanted. But I think it's really important to just double click on the fact that there should be an agreement, we can get an agreement, but everyone has to feel really good to protect what the program is that my kid's playing in.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing from you is that there's not going to be much change for the NYHL and the Flyers organization, correct? I didn't hear you answer Coach Rippey's question about if practices would be full ice or half ice, but what I'm hearing is if there's no change, then ice time shouldn't be reduced for our organization, and we wouldn't go to half sheet instead of full sheet like we get. Is that correct?
I don't operate them.
Okay.
I used to get mad when my kids had to use a half sheet.
Yeah.
So no, consistency is what we're after. I will say there are certain age groups that should be using half sheet in practices. It's
Obviously.
the father of the 8-year-old over there. You know? Like, I know his kid's not skating 200 feet, he's not getting the right exercise. That's a little crazy. But as I'll get a little bit more competitive, a little bit older, it's an important facet. Same time, a lot of high school programs should be doing dual practices. That's my own bias.
My other question, in full transparency, we would like to hear from you, is there has seemingly been a shakeup in the Nashville Predators run youth hockey programs in the last couple of years. So people have seemingly moved around from Nashville Predators to private organizations, and so when you're talking about management and who exactly is going to be managing the ice at Centennial, who is that?
So we will operate the facility, just like we operate the Fort Ice Centers, all three of them. We will sell ice to the junior Predators at do we do Clarksville as well? We don't. Once are moving. Again, Flyers should be using Clarksville from time to time too, for more regional, for regional tournaments, as opposed to going somewhere else.
Well,
But not to displace Centennial, just use it as another option.
But what you have to understand is there's some of us who, this is our home, right? That we didn't want to go to Antioch. We don't want to travel to Clarksville. We want to be 10 minutes from our house, and we don't want to go anywhere else.
I wasn't talking about practices. I was talking about as a viable option for tournaments that currently you travel hours away, not 10 minutes away. That's what I meant.
Right.
As far as operating the facility, we operate the facility, and then we let those that run the programs, Flyers, NYHL, Junior Preds, NSA, City Skates when it comes about, use it, whether it's a contract of purchasing ice, as is with NYHL, Flyers, Junior Preds, NSA, that doesn't change.
But are you going to guarantee that Flyers have prioritized ice at Centennial Sportsplex?
I want to sign that contract last week. We talked about getting a contract and signing it, exactly what we have right now. And what you have right now is second priority on ice. The 40 Preds practice at 10 a.m.
Obviously,
come first, doesn't interrupt with a whole lot. But it's just a matter of getting it done. So the answer is yes, that's what we want. Why it's not done yet, again, I give a lot of credit to the board hitting pause and say, let's have this meeting to see what other concerns come about so we can perfect what that agreement is. Is that fair? I don't want to put you on the spot.
Thank you.
No?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you all for being here tonight and allowing a very civil discussion. I appreciate that. My name's Scott. I have 2 kids in the program. One started in the Preds he learned to skate Scott Hamilton's program, so I'm indebted to that for this one being able to skate, but he came to know sled hockey through that. And that's something that nobody, I don't think any of our sled hockey folks are here. But I wanted to speak on behalf of that sled hockey program because it may get forgotten. You guys got an email, I think I sent it out to 7 different people. They practice on Sundays. The ice has been donated, I think, to them on Sundays, which is very kind. You've got a lot of people who, that's their only outlet for sports. That's it. And if you've never seen sled hockey, I encourage you to come watch because there's a lot of sled hockey players that skate faster than guys standing up. So my son Will, I wanted to put a face to you guys that I did send the email to. Will, he started playing sled hockey 4 years ago on the juniors team. 6 years ago, okay, so little do I know. But he's already on the highest adult team he can be on. And there are several guys on that team that have a Paralympic dream. I don't want anything like this to crush anybody's dream. We want to make sure that that sled hockey program stays viable, affordable, and supported. I will say several times my wife and others in the sled hockey program have come to the Predators, and there's been an interest that went about that long. It never took off. They are well funded through Wheelcats right now, an organization for the kids. The adults have to pay a lot of their own expenses. They do get the ice time, and don't hear me saying I'm not appreciative of that, and we hope that will continue. I think Coach Cheerio, we call him Cheerio, Cheerio has talked to somebody here about that. In fact, somebody came with Saber Entertainment to watch the games this past weekend at a tournament. But again, you've got Iraq veterans, you've got guys that gave their legs, their limbs for our country, who depend on a game, who depend on friendships, who depend on community. This is not all about money. It's not all about improvements. It's about people's lives. It's about friendships. It's about family. So I just wanted to make sure, and I guess my question in all of that is, has anybody addressed that? Are we looking at making this program stronger for these kids so they can make their Olympic dream possible?
The answer is yes. As far as let's improve what we're doing, where we're going, I think every grant that was ever put into our foundation on the sled hockey front has been granted 100%. So I don't know who you talk to that's ignoring it, because we want to fund it more. That's why we made so many mistakes with sled hockey when we built Bellevue. You know, we had the translucent, boards. It was genius. It was smart, except it wasn't. It was dumb. What we did, you change it. Like the intent is always to make things more welcoming, more accessible, and better. And you're right. This is not about money. If this was about money, we would not be in this room. This is a foolish financial thing we're doing if you looked at it just from a financial standpoint. This is about taking good programs and letting them be better. That's all it is. So I appreciate all you're doing.
Okay. We just would love, like you're talking about things being written in contracts, we would love it to be written in that this program still gets supported, because there's literally nowhere else for them to go. Right now, they're Centennial's the only place. They do have tournaments, and we played at Bellevue this past weekend, but I just want somebody to be aware of that is thinking about the whole big picture, that these kids, these adults, take it away if it's not there, if the ice isn't affordable, if they don't get scheduled time, it's gone. And like Nashville is well represented in the hockey community when we go and play in tournaments. People know the Predators, so we want that to continue. Thank you.
Go here, you got 2 back here. I see everybody's hands, I got you. We got one here, I'll come to you, and then we'll go back there to those 2, and then a few over here.
Sean, knowing the ownership group, I know you guys had a sharp pencil on the analysis for how much money you want to put in. Walk us through what that money is going to buy. It sounded like most of that capital is going to go into the training facility for the players, but where it's not, what is that money going to go into for the facilities?
Yeah, over 25 years, you're looking at about $100 million that we'll be spending in Centennial. 25 or 30 will go into the training facility, which is not attached, it's attached to the ice, but not part of the ice. $30 to $35 million is going into the 2 sheets of ice, the common area, the bathrooms, HVAC, the ice skids, everything that's needed, complete renovate all the locker rooms, showers, make it a little bit more usable. That is over the $30 to $35 million is an investment over 25 years. We believe the first 2 years, maybe 3 years, it's probably 10 or 12 million. We've got to get a little deeper involved in what the equipment is and what it's like, what really is on the last leg, looking at one more year. And then again, probably we're estimating $2.5 to $3 million a year in costs for 25 years. That's in operating the 2 rinks and the common areas. So the bulk of it is going in there. That's what it pans out.
And so how does the organization expect to get a return on that investment? Is it going to be from eventual price increases?
There is no return. If you made money operating an ice rink, there'd be a lot more ice rinks.
That's why we're all concerned that you're so interested in taking it over. There's no money in it, why is the team interested in it?
Why do we build Ford Ice Center in Antioch, Bellevue, and Clarksville? We lose $400,000 to $500,000 in each one. We think it's not a palatable amount to lose. It'd be better if it was $100,000. We have a deal with the city that if we ever make money at the Ford Ice Centers, we split it with them. The same deal will be put in place in here, in case something happens in a weird way, electricity is free, or whatever it is. We won't make money, there. We have, I don't know, 400 kids a year skating for free at the Ford Ice Centers. We like our gold program, Learn to Skate program, predecessor. We like the fact that kids that wouldn't play otherwise can play because we're putting on the ice. I like the fact, maybe I shouldn't say this out loud, that the mayor's office likes it too, has never challenged all these free programs because they know parks and rec centers aren't profit centers. They're a lifestyle, they're good for the community. We believe that too. I mean, our foundation, I think, speaks for itself. We're the most active sports foundation in the country. We give out $4 million a year in cash and kind. There's no return on that, except it makes programs like you just talked about better. That's why we do it, and that's why we built Ford Ice Centers. It's why we had a conversation today about Sumner County again, because it's needed. We need them in Williamson County.
You're stealing my thunder, because I'm thinking, why not put that money, because in the short term, these capital improvements are gonna reduce ice time for all the programs.
No. Why would they reduce ice time?
Because you're gonna be tearing the facility apart as you do the facility.
I gotta interrupt you there. That was a pretty bad rumor. Someone said you're gonna shut one sheet of ice down for a year to build your training facility. The ice doesn't get touched to build that training facility, at all. If the ice gets shut down, when we're replacing an ice skid, yeah, you'll bring in temporary equipment to make sure one's still operating. You'll take the other one down, do some concrete repair, get it back up. That's probably a week or 10 days on one sheet. And then you'll do the other. When we're replacing dasher boards and glass, that'll all happen, over a long weekend. When we replace bleachers and bathrooms and locker rooms, you might lose a locker room offline. You're not going to lose the rinks. When we take the HVAC system down to recommission or recondition it, you'd end up bringing in temporary equipment to take its place. Just like we're doing in our building on an ongoing basis all the time.
Is that something you'd be willing to commit with all the other things that we're talking about in writing? That the facilities won't be degraded to the point where they're not usable while you're doing it?
I think that's already in our agreement, certain approvals of when it comes down. But we're not doing this to shut rinks down. We're doing it to keep this rink open and operating, and it's proven. I mean, we've done it in the past. When the skids went down, what was it, 3 years ago, John? We brought temporary equipment in, to operate it. We lost one day. If we didn't jump into that and finance it, probably would have been closer to a week. We don't want the rinks to shut down for an hour, let alone a week, let alone the elongated period that you're speaking about. When we replace the lamps up above it, try to do it at night, maybe you lose 4 hours of operation. But that's what we do.
Thanks.
Yes.
So if you say you don't run any of the actual programs at the rinks, why would Metro lease you the rinks to lease it to these other programs as opposed to Metro continuing their leases with these programs?
We'll operate the facility. We will, like at Ford Ice Centers, we operate, the youth leagues, NYHL already has a contract, doing a great job. We don't want to interfere with that. We want that to be the home of the Flyers forever and NYHL. But someone has to operate the facility still, and quite honestly, invest a little bit more money into it each and every day.
Hey, Sean. How's it going? Hey, you were talking earlier about how, growing the Flyers and everything, going to Clarksville and playing tournament runs, right? And my thought was, well, we're doing that now. I mean, we travel to all the places now. I mean, we go to Clarksville for tournaments. High school plays in the GNAC League. We go up there, and so I don't see a lot of growth there because we're already doing that. My other thought is, you know, all these professional organizations, they have their own practice facilities, things like that. They put more money into things like that. I guess my question is, why do you guys need to operate the management of it? You know, if you are caring about youth hockey, and this is a community, I mean, we have friends with the junior Preds, and we played with Preds Select before, and we love going to see people and our families and friends, they're a family to us, with the junior Preds, right? And we have that community now. And we love the Predators. I personally love the Predators. Right? Exactly, right? But if you really are making that investment into the community, right? And the Predators are getting what they need now, right? They're getting the ice time, the practice time, the visiting teams are getting the times, they're getting the facilities. Why not just invest in the community and not do the managing part of it, because the managing of it has been done well?
So, a lot of, I think, questions in there. The first is, I think there's only 2 NHL teams that have a practice facility in a private rink and no one else uses it. Shame on them, because there's such few ice rinks in every city in America. I don't care what city you're in. But it's very rare where that occurs. It's good to be in a community rink. The guys are there, the kids play there, so that's always been that way, you know, for us as well. You know,
Well,
hard pressed.
across other sports though, too, is my perspective.
Well, I really gonna bring up other sports. I'd be embarrassed if you had a practice facility that wasn't open to the public. Like, I don't know why you would do that. It's used so infrequently. The amount of times our players practice at Centennial, it's 30 times a year in the season, maybe not even that much, right?
Not a lot.
Right. Our training camp should be there. We moved that to Bellevue because of some space limitations as those things continue to grow. We should be there. You brought up visiting teams use Centennial to practice. About a third of the visiting teams don't use Centennial anymore. They bus out to Bellevue. And then they take social media shots at all of us, at our city, and our rink, and our history. You don't like when they do that. You don't like when they do that. No one does. It's pretty petty, first of all. Us upgrading the facility changes them using it. The more teams are using it in off times, it's a good thing. But it's hard to say we should invest in our own training facility and then not know what's happening on the other side of the wall. And then you look at the real need of that $35 million of capital needed for the facility itself. We're willing to donate that and put that in there. When you do that, you want to make sure that you're a little bit more hands-on in managing where that investment's going, how it's going, what's the next investment. But we're going to be doing it with the staff that is there. All the staff that is there, we haven't said that yet, are going to be offered a position with us. I hope they all say yes. If some can't say yes because of not vested in a pension yet, we're working on it already, that they'll stay city employees and we'll reimburse the city or however that will look. That was the first thing Monique said, because she cares about her staff. We want that. We want the people that run that facility to run the facility. We want to add people to that as well, though, because it's hard to run a facility with a handful of people. It just is. You're better run, you can optimize more things, and refresh some people a little bit more, you know, when you have more staff.
Here's what we're gonna do. We got a question out in the, 2 questions out in the foyer. We're gonna go across, I think I saw some here, go across this back way here. And then, so we're gonna go with these 2 here, you, sir, here, and then we'll come up here and go this way.
Hey, so Sean, I had a question about men's league. I know that the league Centennial right now basically starts at lower C, so you need about 5 to 8 years of hockey experience to compete in there. If you take over Centennial, are you going to add upper D, lower D, and rookie levels to that adult league?
I should admit this out loud. I have thought about adult league, very small part of what we're doing. So I think adding programs is a good thing if it doesn't take away from other things that are happening already. So we're going to figure ways to do that. You know, we can do it. I was talking to someone today, I was playing D-League hockey yesterday, making fun of himself. I was like, no, that's a great thing. You know, the more people playing hockey is a good, you're laughing because it was you. But the more people playing is a good thing. If we can add programs at either rate without deleting others or stealing, you know, minutes here or there, you know, then we should do it.
Any more before you? Go ahead.
Howdy, Sean.
Hey,
Good to see you. So, one of the biggest questions that I have noticed and personally experienced was security concerns. So, as part of like your overall plan to upgrade and maintain the facilities, how is that going to be integrated into the plan? And secondly, you know, as part of this renovation and then this long-term plan through 2049, are you going to go ahead and work and collaborate with local colleges and universities as a way to go ahead and strengthen like sports management programs, internships as well, if they're really wanting to go like get into the sport of hockey, as well as integrate their, you know, to be able to gain real world experience in that sense?
So Doug, I knew you'd have a three-parter. Never simple, right? Starting with security, you're always looking to enhance, and the world's changing, unfortunately. So it will be part of our designs. You look at what Parks just did probably a month ago by adding security to every single park. The rinks, rec centers, actually parks themselves. That's an ever-evolving thing that we'll continue to work closely together on. We work close with every college on their sports partner programs. We have about 30 interns every semester. Fordyce Center has them. Centennial will allow us to, you know, continue that and grow those programs. But what this will allow us to do is continue to work with TSU. And our real goal, and I think Dante's here somewhere, there's Nick, who's not the head coach of TSU. The goal is pretty aggressive, to launch a Division I program at TSU. We'll make it the first HBCU in the country to do so. We do that, it changes hockey, you know, forever. It allows different people to look at hockey differently. One of the things that we'll be doing is when we're looking at the locker rooms or working with Parks, how do we build a locker room for TSU to use as their home ice rink as well? Their hours they'll use for practices won't take away from any of the public side, because it'll be in those, you know, slower times also, either first thing in the morning or sometimes during the day. So appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Sean, I'll be the first one to bring up the Dallas Stars for
I still don't work for them.
You started back in 2010, correct? And the former CEO, he came from the Dallas Stars organization, is that correct? Has the Preds' intention of following the Dallas Stars model, has it shifted because of the mess in Dallas? I started back in 2014, and
We've never followed the Dallas Stars operating model. We followed their model of how do you partner with the city to bring the ice developments about. That's pretty much where it stopped. Jeff Cogan's one of my good friends. I've known him a long time. We have the same birthday. Jeff Cogan was at Fordyce Center, I think, twice in the 2 years that he was here. Our HR person's laughing. The day we cut the ribbon, and maybe one other time. I don't know. But what Jeff did do for us, his legacy, is look how we did this. This is how we work creatively with the city to partner and bring these about. I think that's a good thing. What they do or what they don't do, I'll be honest, I'm not that up on it. But I think people keep throwing these articles like, oh my gosh, look at the Stars. And I really do ask people, did you ever read them? And I'm sure you did. Because when you read them, it is about them controlling all programs themselves, not farming anything out, not partnering with good operators with well-intentions. And I think that's maybe where their problems have started. But again, I'm not that worried about what the Stars are doing, or the Penguins are doing, or the Islanders. I am concerned about what we're doing, what we're growing, and how we improve.
Yeah, I brought that up. I started back in 2014, and the Predators at the time were a little bit more vocal about taking over Centennial back then. So that was why I brought it up.
I'm fairly vocal about everything. I've been with Parks a long time. You know, Tommy and I were pretty good friends. Obviously, we're all inspired by Jim Fike. I don't ever remember talking about this in 2014.
Okay.
I do remember when we first talked about it, it was right before, we thought we'd go to lunch once in a while. And our last lunch was together before March 5th or whatever.
Okay. And the Predators and Junior Preds / TPH are lockstep. I think you answered this already, but you denied that, correct? You're just
Lots.
you're just leasing the ice to the junior Preds, you're not controlling them at all?
That's right.
Okay. Does the Preds have an employee on the junior Preds board?
I think our president of Junior Preds is our employee. Yeah.
Correct. Is that a requirement?
No. It is, yes. Oh.
So why would?
Yes, it is.
So why would the Predators have a employee on the junior Preds board?
We market our name to them,
If you don't
and
want to
when
be involved with travel hockey.
we ran our travel hockey program, Junior Preds. Got elevated to a point, we don't want to be in that space.
Preds
We
Select.
What's that?
Preds Select was the program, not the junior
Wasn't the
Preds.
junior Preds?
I'm sorry,
Preds Select was the Preds organization.
repeat your question.
That
We don't
was
mind.
given to TPH.
The question is why?
All the Junior Preds were given TPH, and then we
They were
added.
never junior Preds, they were Preds Select.
All the Junior Preds were given to TPH to run, and then we added Pred Select, which is the first level of travel hockey, to them as well, to build a consistent, stream up. Why should we have someone on their board? We license our name to them. And Bill Wickett's here somewhere, who's our CMO, he was in Tampa a long time. We took the Lightning name off of the junior team for a long time, because it wasn't being run the way we're proud of for our logo. The one thing we didn't want to do is turn our logo over to an outside entity without some input and some control. They've been great partners, they really have been. When we have a problem or a challenge with a kid, which we'll all have from time to time, the way it's addressed has been handled really, really well. But it is important that we have decent oversight at least in
Said, is Pred Select going to turn into junior Preds? No, 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 that's not happening. They're going to be two separate entities. And then what happened a year later? Junior Preds had completely absorbed and taken over Pred Select, and there were a lot less slots for kids to play. And so I think the problem was there wasn't transparency, and we were being lied to. We asked specific questions, and then a year later it happened. So it's very hard to trust what you're saying when youth hockey organizations have been lying to us.
If you want to do it now, you can tell me afterwards, who lied to you? I mean, that's a pretty strong statement. Everything we do, will we make mistakes? Absolutely, every day. What we strive for always, and we have a 30-year history of it, is always trying to do what's right. And when we misstep, we make a mistake, we course correct it. There'll be times that we say, we're going to move this wall and realize we shouldn't do it, and let's go back on that. I do believe Pred Select operating within TPH is a good thing, because it builds more consistency. What's that?
It's gone. They got rid of it. There is no Pred Select.
It's absorbed by the overall program.
Well, they reduced the number of teams.
Can I correct the Pred Selects, there's the same 7 teams within the program. There's no limiting of spots, there's no, we actually deleted double A spots to absorb the same way.
And single A lives today the same way it did with the number of teams and roster spots.
This year, not the year before.
This is our first year.
Yeah, but this is our first year of operating.
So, things I'm not gonna talk about that we don't control, is agreements. These are some conversations that probably should go into what I would say is a community benefits agreement typically, with partners. I do want to stay on topic of an agreement from the city of Nashville and the Nashville Predators. So I do want to talk to leaders of these programs afterwards about communicating with you all of how we should move forward with communicating
important for the
agreements.
families to hear this.
Yeah, I agree too. I think do you have a few more questions?
I have a lot.
Yeah. So I want to. So when people jumped in your way, I want to continue with you.
I think if you've got pages of questions, I mean, we should respect other people's time in answering these questions.
Bingo.
Yeah.
What role will TPH have within Centennial?
NYHL and Flyers home is Centennial. Right now, TPH's home are the 2 Fordyce centers, occasionally the 3rd one. I don't see that changing at all, but I do hope the Flyers skate out of Fordyce centers from time to time. I think some crossover between those two are a good thing, but the answer is no, they're not operating the programs out of Centennial.
So the junior Preds will be practicing at Centennial as well, correct?
Do they practice there now?
No.
I don't see them changing that at all.
Let me read an email that went out yesterday.
Did it come from anyone with the Predators?
It came from someone within TPH.
Okay. Hard for me to answer that, but,
Okay.
no, they're not speaking.
Okay, the auto-generated email titled "We Want Ice and TN," which was included in that email last night, that is supporting this proposal. Did the Preds create that?
Did the Preds create what?
The auto-generated?
No.
No? What about a Preds family member?
Preds family member?
Yeah. You probably can't answer that, can you?
I'm up here answering anything, Dave, just like I did when we were together.
Just a question, yes or no?
What's that? Our communication partner generated the email. Yeah.
The NYHL hasn't received much support from the Predators since I started back in
That is not true.
2014.
And this is
Let me
where-
finish the question.
No,
Let me finish the
me
question.
answer. The past 20 years, we've had our grant cycle open. We were granted 12 grants to NYHL. Why wasn't it 20?
Okay, so
The
there's
12 years you applied for a grant, we granted it. Most of the time, more than what you asked for. 4 of those 12 years, I had to call someone with NYHL saying, are you gonna submit a grant? You have to get it on time. We want to give you this money. Please do it. The 8 years we didn't fulfill the grant, you never applied for it. So I don't understand why you wouldn't apply for it. I just don't understand that.
Okay, let me ask you this question. We've gotten the grants, like you said. I don't think the
12 out of
Preds are going to deny a grant that the NYHL Youth Hockey League program sends in. You've also done the Little Preds and the Gold programs at Centennial. We've hosted them. Even though your messaging has been that we don't do them at Centennial.
You don't do them the way we used to do them. And it would be nice to populate that a little bit more than we do now, period.
Yeah, we did one back in June. There was about a year or two stretch we didn't do one.
Right. So,
And the reason because of
1
that.
out of 3 years, we should do it more. That's what we want to do.
The reason we did not do a Little Preds Gold program was because I didn't hear back from your employee. Or because we were told we didn't have enough equipment.
Now, James, I know you want to make this an argument. When we sat together with your board,
You won't even let me answer my questions.
Wait, I asked you one question. What have we ever done wrong to NYHL? You came up with one thing, and your co-board members are here, and you said 6 years ago, someone didn't send an email on our behalf. I said, that's it. I mean, we're always supporting the growth of youth hockey, without exception. If we've misstepped from time to time, we do. But we're always there for it. Whether it's free programs, our core programs, goal, learn, play, but hosting one every 3 years, I hope we can do better than that, because we all love the sport, period.
So why was the answer no when we asked to send out
Who?
how's the info?
The guy doesn't work for us anymore. I called him afterwards, and he said he wanted us to do a lot of other things. He doesn't even work for us anymore, and it was 6 or 7 years ago. Do we have your registration QR code up in our building for people to get information from? Yes. We did that on our own, I think, in that same window. Are we designing information right now in our kids zone for you to put up your information? Yes, because we want it up there. The more people that know about youth hockey and ways to get involved and touch the ice is a good thing. That's something we've always grown. In Antioch, when we first opened it, we had NYHL registrations and sign-up information on our information board, if you remember that. So that's right when you started. That was an important thing for us, for people to see you can play hockey anywhere in this community, and we're all one, despite Nat Hardin not sending out an email 7 years.
He wasn't told from the upper management not to send it out?
Of course not.
No? Okay. What about these no's? Can we get NYHL teams and intermission skates? This was probably 10, 11 years ago. Can we get NYHL teams?
This is a separate conversation you guys need to have, because this is.
This is very important for the families, because with the exception of the goal program and the
do you have
Preds
a
grant,
list of 5 pages you're going to go through with a series of questions?
Okay,
because this
more.
sounds like maybe this is a separate offline meeting we should carry on with.
Yeah.
I mean, it's.
Let's do this.
Can I ask one question?
Well, I want to go to the young man here in the back here. He's been waiting for a while with New York.
Well, I just want to get back a little bit more to the economics of what we're talking about, sort of the big picture. We were talking about legacy programs, and when you were talking about the legacy programs, your quote was, "This is not about money." Would you be willing to commit to secure the same pricing to the legacy programs that they're currently paying for the next 5 years?
Well, wait, maybe for the length of the lease, but moreover, and adjusted, because the cost of electricity does go up, right? So you can't just fix it at nothing,
Well,
but something that's tied to something that really is, oh, well,
Starting,
this or that,
okay,
the other, yeah.
that's fine, but the quote, we commit to the affordable prices that we're now paying and a secure, stable pricing structure. Section 5.9 of the lease automatically gives you guys the right to adjust all prices to market rates. Market rates, assuming that's the Fort Ice centers, are more than twice what people are paying at Centennial.
They're not twice, but the answer is yes, to lock it in. And Todd, that's exactly what we talked about, at least for MIHL, correct?
Correct.
Right. So the answer is yes.
For everything.
For all legacy programs.
What's that? I use that as an example because we had the conversation, talking to NSA right now. The answer is yes. So we've committed it, I'm saying it. I want to get it in writing. Let's just get that happen.
Okay, but it's already in writing at 5.9 where you adjust the market.
Yeah, we have the right to adjust the market, and if we enter into an agreement that locks that pricing in, that is where we stay. And when that agreement comes up, then perhaps you adjust it. When we do that agreement together, it will look at in possible escalation in cost. Electricity, I don't know if you limit the CPI, but that's what we talked about, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So, how long can we, where is it in writing that it's going to do this? Because right now,
It's
nowhere.
it's currently not in writing between any of the legacy groups and parks. We want to enter into a 3-year agreement at a minimum with each one of those legacy groups, ideally with a year extension each time in an evergreen fashion, locking what the prices are and what the increases could be at some point in the future.
Locking
That's
where the prices are when, at market or at?
where they are right now, locking them in.
So my question is pretty basic, it's not even for you, it's the first time.
No, sit down.
So I want to get back to the basic of this. What happens if this deal doesn't go through to the Centennial Sportsplex?
What happens to Centennial Sportsplex?
Is it really necessary? Because it's great, you guys have a great visibility, you can really help with all those things that you talked about, but you lose a little bit of your soul giving over control of a public facility that is, it's not a business. This is not supposed to be a business. This is something that is paid for by tax dollars for the people of the city. And so to give up control of that, is that really necessary? And is there another way we could do it without agreeing to give up control of the facility?
We as taxpayers are gaining from a contribution from the Predators and then the fusion of capital into a deferred maintenance in a facility like many facilities, and they have a vested interest in operating that. I think they have a 30-year commitment in operating in this community in Nashville and proving their commitment to the community through that process. And we agree with that. And I think there's an enormous value to all of us in improving those facilities now and long term, admittedly for portions that the city has been unable to keep up with. We have constraints related to budgets. We have to take care of fire, safety, public services, right? We have other maintenance facilities with other things that the city has to look at collectively and can't focus on one individual facility that helps this. Their goal is they already have an agreement here. They're already ensconced in the Sportsplex. That's been part of the lease deal here. They're continuing that partnership with us, just like we have a public-private partnership at 2 other facilities that they've run well. So it's a continuation in the spirit of those agreements where we get a high-quality facility for high-quality operations that continues with the staff at Parks, and I think all those collectively end up accruing to the benefit of everybody involved, including the public-facing programs that are a part of this. And that's the goal and that's the accomplishment. If not for that agreement, then you're right where you are today related to the facilities. You know, Sean has said, I think it is true that based on where the facilities are, our hope is that we prevent any down on that facility, any crisis related to the facilities, because we've been unable to maintain them the way that we'd like to maintain them. So we think on net, that accrues to the benefit of the city, the taxpayers, and the folks that are using the facilities, because we'll have them taken well care of by the Predators long-term, as a continuation of the agreement we already have, and have proven successfully over time with other facilities in the city of the Preds.
So what do you say to those people that want to play hockey but don't want to be associated with the Preds?
Correct.
What do you say to those people that I personally, I love the Preds, I love going to games, I love watching the games, but what do you say to those people that don't? I mean, a good number of us.
What has been said repeatedly in the room is that it's a continuation of those programs over time. There's a commitment to continuing the legacy programs, the pricing of those legacy programs, you've heard that related to this, access to the ice as it continues today, and it's going to function differently from those other facilities related to Sportsplex. I think it's been answered repeatedly in the room.
I think the families would feel a lot better if the mayor's office and the city could ensure longer-term contracts for the legacy programs.
I think what they're working on, as Sean said, we don't have in existence those types of agreements in place now. The Predators have been working with the organization to put those in place, and they've made a commitment, as you heard in the room, to continue to have stable pricing, stable access to the ice times as well, and continuing with the programs that currently exist at Centennial.
What keeps the Preds from monopolizing all the ice in Nashville when this happens? Because when that happens, they take control of all of it. There is no fair market at that point. Us as citizens, Metro employee, myself, we look to the city to be like, look, we need competition. I mean, we don't want it monopolized. We want to be able to come in and have an option. Some of us don't have the option of Ford Ice because of pricing, Sean. I mean, I love the Preds, dude. I worked for you for 10 years. I mean, we just want a fair market option.
I do want to go back to this question here from my standpoint. There's been, for 6 years, your bathrooms, this has been on my capital improvements budget, and I think they look the same for the last 20 years. And I've argued with multiple mayors now, asking to put some investment into that. I've worked with the director to put some investment into that as well. And we're seeing a lack of investment over the years, not just for Centennial Sportsplex, and not just the ice rink, the swimming pools, the restrooms, not that building, the fitness center across the street, the tennis, the racket places. We're seeing a lack of investment in parks throughout the city. So if we look over the budget of parks throughout the city over the years, we've seen that continue to inch down. And so I don't want to speak for the director, but for my capital improvements budget, there hasn't been any investments in working with parks put into this center in quite some time.
They just put a roof on it.
Well,
they just put a roof on it, and guess what? In about 3 years, you're gonna need a roof on the rest of it.
Yep.
I can tell you all about this building.
Yeah.
And I can tell you what the concrete you have to dig through to bust up. You just replaced all the toilets, put stainless toilets in. I mean, yeah, the mats just got replaced. I mean, guys, why can't we get the money from our mayor when we're raising our taxes? Mine just went up 54% on my property taxes, not counting the amount of houses that we're building. The funding's there. What do we need to do to get the funding appropriated through the parks to put it towards the facility? Like, this is one of the main parks facilities that generates money for the parks. One of the few. It was donated to Metro. They bought it in 1911 for baseball fields and football fields for the public. Now I love the Preds, Sean. Please don't take this the wrong way. I'm going to come in a lot of your games. If I see you in the Lexus line, I'll find you. So, how do we keep our funding from the city, the tax dollars, to put it into something that the city uses as a taxpayer perspective? All these youth hockey people, they have a lot more to go through than I do, just coming in to ref a game or playing a men's league. But I've been there since I was 14.
Trust me, I'm on your side. I don't fill out the CSP, these people do.
I get it, I mean, I get it.
You guys don't know the CSP, that's the capital. So I've got a capital
He's got a
improvements
boss.
budget, but they got the money. And I argue with the mayor, whoever it is, trying to, it's not just the mayor that we have now. I don't care who's in the seat, like, we need the money in my district.
Parks is the least funded
And
metro.
Parks is the least funded, exactly, in Metro. And so, not to take sides, just to kind of clear some air with this question is, what happens to Centennial Sportsplex? If the dollars from Parks continue to go down from the budget, from the CSP, from the mayor's office, whoever that may be. And this is multiple mayors over the years, not just where we are now. That money will not be able to, I mean, I don't know if we can withstand the repairs. A roof, you have to do that, right? There's things you have to do to continue to keep the building. But the small details, I'm not sure if that's what.
That's why I'm hearing you is, okay, there's facilities you have to maintain, but everybody talks about improving the bathrooms and improving the bleachers. Nobody cares when they're playing. I don't care what the toilets look like.
I'll make a difference. I've gotten very mean emails about the bathrooms. Prison toilets.
Like, your kids want ice, they need a place to go to the bathroom, but it doesn't have to be pretty.
The original doors are still on the front of that building.
They work.
I hit it the other day and a piece of it fell off. But no, they work, they function. It's simple as putting a screw in and glazing it, but still.
We changed those doors.
Putting them, when?
Those are new doors, James.
When?
There across the aquatic down and back. The back doors, Brandow's not that.
So as you came in through
The front main entrance is still the same storefront that was there.
You want
a better lunchtime?
I do bet you better. They'll drag me out of there in 98. Like, get in there, get in the locker room.
All right, we've got some folks who've been waiting here, so we're gonna go here, this young lady, and then our friend in the back.
I'm new, all right, I moved here with my family from Chicago 3 years ago. I have an 8-year-old and a 7-year-old. I've been in both programs. I don't know all the history with everything, and I'm not saying that from here, but at a more fundamental level, this seems as though you need a better rink for practice facility, and you need better facilities for training and et cetera, to keep up. I know what other teams are building. It's sweet. These people have a real concern, and I share that concern, especially, and it's not your fault. You weren't the guy at Dallas that decided to try to make $1 billion company or $2 billion company a bunch of money off of youth sports. But what essentially you are asking the parks and the city to do by giving away management of the only public rink is to create a monopoly. And what these people are asking for is, and I know you said you tried to do that, but I think that what everyone in this room is concerned about is the devil is always in the details. And I hope that the mayor's office and this parks board will, continue this until we all know exactly what's in those details so that everybody's concerns are met. We get assurances that you will not behave as the Dallas Stars did and as a monopoly in making money, either directly or through your partners off of youth sports. I think that that's, primarily what I'm understanding from most of the people from, the Flyers organization and the skate organizations that I've seen here, and I don't know all of them because I just got here and I have a 7 and 8-year-old. And the benefit of hockey is one that should be available to everybody, whether or not you can afford to go all the way through and spend 3 private school education tuitions on AAA and everything else, which my brother's doing in Detroit. And unlike, you have a different market. I recognize the challenges you have. You don't have generational fan base where you can I don't know how you guys would do with it. I don't know how it's gonna go down with, you know, the sports entertainment industry in this city, because you have enjoyed a bit of a bubble while the Titans were terrible, and they also had a bad stadium. At least one of those things is changing. I don't know. I just wanna know though, you know, going forward is, I'm in this for another 10 years probably, that we're not gonna get soaked because you guys gained that monopoly control, which they would have to grant you in granting this public facility. That is what I would like to see in writing and fully negotiated out before anybody goes anywhere forward with this, just as a taxpayer and a follower of the 704. So.
Welcome to Nashville, you made a good decision. Your brother is a foolish one.
Sadly, I was also in Chicago when we gave away our parking meters for $1 billion, and the money disappeared like that. And they're stuck with that for the next 100 years, or until they go bankrupt. But I'm not there anymore.
Smart. I don't know if there was a question there for me.
No, I'm just giving you a synopsis. It wasn't a question for you. It was more public comments for the city and for, you know, the members of the board.
We're gonna go to this young lady in the front.
Okay, so I have a couple of questions. I'm also a Metro Parks employee, so I'm gonna be a little selfish really quick. So I make a pretty good amount as an ice technician right now. What exactly are you offering to the people who are already there?
So I gotta defer to Monique a little bit in this. One of the biggest things from the mayor's office, and we agreed to it quickly because it's run well, is we're offering everyone the position they have to stay in that position at the same pay. The one thing that we're very conscious of, there might be some people that are close to vesting a pension that we have to look at that differently, because a great employee might not be able to come over if they're a year or 2 or 5 years away from that benefit. So we talked about it earlier. It was Monique's idea of, well, we've done it in other places. They'll stay Parks employees or city employees. They'll work under us or with us, and then we'll reimburse Parks or city. I think it's a really, really strong thing. And again, we wouldn't have agreed to that from the city's office if we didn't think it was a well-run facility. We think it could just run a little bit better with more bodies, with more investment, with more known planned capital coming in. That's an important thing.
Okay, cool.
We had a great Halloween party today, too.
Yeah. Another question that I have is more for public skating and stick and puck. So I see a lot of people get into hockey and figure skating through our public skates. They like to have the information, they like, you know, they liked our prices, especially before when we had people with skates and people without skates separate. That was a really big thing for us, and that got taken away. And I have seen people complain about it. And sure, people complain all the time, but that is something that I think has really shrunken our populace for these public skates. And I want to know if, now that you're going to have this monopoly over everything, are those prices going to rise like they did at Fordyce? And also another big thing is people like that they don't have to fill out a waiver with us. Are you going to make them fill out waivers?
People will fill out waivers. That's one thing. I don't understand the lack of waivers. I don't understand adults not joining USA Hockey for the insurance benefits for the facility and the individual. That's a separate conversation. The one thing that is exciting is there are really good things that happen at Fordyce Center, and there are things that could be better there that we can learn from Centennial. Really good things at Centennial, they could probably be better, by bringing things together. Whether you want to call it monopoly or not, at the Nolensville people